All right. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome. We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am here and we are ready to get it going, talking about these bids and key information that you guys are leaving out, which in turns is having you leave money on the table. So welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from. If this is your first time, hey, I'm Felicia Streeter, and today we're going to be talking about bids. So we're going to be sharing some juicy information. I'm just going to share it out. And you guys come on in, come on in. Let me know who you are, where you're joining from. Come on in. Glad to have you. So come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome. Who are you? Where you're joining from? Have you put in a bid before? That would be cool to know as well. I'm curious. Have you submitted a bid before? Come on in, come on in. Let me know. Let me know where you guys are at, who I'm talking to, and just so that I'll know kind of what to cover, because I do try to use you guys as an example. If you're willing to share, just so that you can kind of get a feel for it from your own perspective. So I always like to know who you guys are, where you're joining from, and the like. So definitely go ahead and let me know that. That would be great. Who you are, where you're joining from. So definitely let us know that. I'm just sharing it out. So go ahead, let me know who you are, where you're joining from. If you've submitted a bid before, definitely let me know that as well. I just kind of like to know where you guys are at, what level you're at, so that we can have a conversation that's one, engaging, and that, you know, it makes sense for you. So definitely let us know who you are, where you're joining from. If you've submitted a bid before, that would be awesome. Oh, my thing went off on me. Okay. Yeah, so let me know, let me know. And I got my notes up and we are ready to rock and roll. So welcome, welcome. Let me click this down. All right, let's see. We have Belinda Coleman in the house from New Jersey. Welcome, welcome. I remember your name. Awesome. Congratulations, Belinda. Got her cage coat yesterday. So we have Michelle from Miami, Florida. All right. Welcome, welcome. I don't remember you, but good morning. We have April, Jacksonville, Florida. So Florida's in the house. Welcome, welcome. So we have some new people here. That's awesome. Belinda has a cleaning company. That's awesome. Oh, you messaged. Okay, you messaged me via Facebook, Belinda. Did I respond, or you just did that? Okay, awesome, awesome. So welcome, welcome everyone. So we're talking about bids today. So some of you, it's your first time because I don't remember your name, and I'm pretty good at that. So hey, I'm Felicia Streeter. For those of you guys that this is your first time, and I never like to take for granted that you know who I am anyway. So I like to introduce myself. I'm Felicia Streeter. I work with businesses just like yours, you know, small businesses, contractors, speakers, trainers. I mean, the government buys pretty much everything. And so my objective is to show small businesses how to win contracts with the federal government. And one of our key components of that is really getting you to your first bid done fast. That's the ultimate goal. All right. But today we want to talk about 5 most forgotten elements to a bid. Theoretically, when we're submitting bids, right, we all know we have to put a number to it. I think that's kind of a given, right? I think. And so we don't usually forget that part, but there is other key information that we do forget that will definitely help us in presenting our company, letting them know our capacity, our capabilities, you know, our skill set, and being able to perform on what we're talking about. And another key component that is left out a lot of times is we're not able, or you do it, but not well, efficiently, you're not able to decipher what you're going to deliver in a format that's in alignment with what they're asking for. So I do want to cover, I think I just have 5 key points I want to share with you here today. It's not a total list of things, but I didn't want to overwhelm you guys either. So I just wanted to touch on 5 of the most forgotten elements to a bid and share that with you guys today. So if you have a bid checklist that you're already using, definitely take what I'm sharing here today, put it up against your checklist, and just make sure you have those things included. If you don't have a bid checklist, then definitely you can use this as a starting point, right, to create your own bid process so that you assure yourself that you're not leaving information out, important information, to the success of you winning an opportunity, because we have to be mindful that it's not like we get to come in and have a conversation in most cases when we're submitting a bid. So it's kind of like the bid packet, the proposal is speaking for us. And so we want to put our best foot forward, but we have to do it in writing. And so that's why I thought it would be a great time to cover this, because my people inside of the Contractors Edge Bootcamp, they're killing it. They are negotiating deals. I had a couple people last week won contracts and things like that. And so we're always working on new opportunities in the boot camp. And so we just want to make sure that we're not leaving anything out, because if you are, then you're also probably leaving money on the table. And I don't know about you, but I don't like to leave money on the table. You know, if I have an opportunity at winning it, I want to do that. If I have an opportunity to bid something and put in the time and effort, then I want to make sure I put my best foot forward. So I'd like to know in the comments, let me know, yes or no, no or yes, if you have submitted a bid before. And then that'll kind of tell me where you guys are at. Okay, so we're going to dive into the 5 most forgotten elements to a bid. And welcome, come on in. Let us know who you are, where you're joining from. And we're going to dive in. If you've submitted a bid before, yes or no, no or yes, let us know in the comments. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, here's the thing. If you have submitted a bid before and you're not getting the results that you want, this is also key for you. Another thing, and this is not on my notes, I'm kind of going off the cuff here, but if you're submitting opportunities, you should definitely be tracking your results. And so there's key metrics that you should be tracking, so that you're tracking your successes as well as your failures or bids that you don't win, because, you know, the ratio should be in your favor. Okay. If you're losing more than you're bidding, if you're losing more than you're winning, that's a problem. And if you're losing all of them, that's a problem. So you want to make sure you're focusing and spending some time on learning how to bid these opportunities properly. Or if it's a proposal you have to submit, making sure you're doing that correctly as well. There's other types of ways we can submit, but we're not going to cover those here today, where it may not be as extensive, but, you know, we're talking about the bid proposal type thing today. And so you want to make sure you're including all of the pertinent information. And sometimes that even entails information that they didn't necessarily ask for, because you need to show it to show something about your business that otherwise they would not know, but it would be beneficial for them to know in making a decision on your company. Okay. All right. Let's see who else we have in the house. Jaquan. Hey. From Houston. All right. K-Sun. Hey. One in call for 30K and enforcement. Wow. Yes, I remember you, K-Sun. K-Sun. I think those are 2 different names, probably K and then your last name is Sun. But yes, I remember speaking to you and your assistant. Yes. I'm glad to see that you guys are submitting on some opportunities. That's awesome, because I believe you guys are in Houston, if I remember right. All right. So here we go. The first thing you want to make sure you include is your past performance. Why is that? Because it shows them that you know how to do the type of work that you're telling them that you can do for them. Also, not only have you done it, but you've done it successfully. So when I say that and I say past performance, you definitely want to make sure you're submitting information that is favorable. Okay. So when I say you're submitting past performance, you're going to list the companies that you had a good working relationship with. I've seen where people will put projects that they've done, but they didn't go so well. And so you want to, again, make sure you're putting your best foot forward and only list those opportunities that went well. Now, if, say, for example, you only had a couple and one was good, one not so good, but you did still finish it and completed it, accordingly, but you had some bumps along the way, then you could still, show that if that's all you have. But I would almost encourage you to put some type of narrative with that, or in the packet in itself, just kind of explaining how you overcome obstacles on projects, right? And then you could point out that particular opportunity or past performance that you have listed as the example. Okay, so you could do something like that. But definitely, if you've done a lot of projects, definitely, list, 3 to 5 of the best ones. You definitely want to show the ones that are in relation to the type of work that you're going to be doing. If you're doing something totally new, and when I say totally new, not that you can't do it, just that you don't have anything exactly like that that you've done. And so then you're going to pick the ones that are closest to it, most similar, that the work would be, pretty similar in nature. So you just have to be mindful of that. And so past performance, you're definitely going to need it and you want to show it. Okay. And then just make sure it's relevant to the project if possible. Sometimes we have to put what we have within our business, but maybe we did it in a career. Show something to show that, yes, I've done this type of work before. Okay. Now, the other thing in building past performance, if you guys are just starting out, maybe you've been in business 2 years or less or whatever, you don't have any past performance, I always suggest that you start with private sector, corporate, something like that, to start building up some past performance in your business, because on a lot of government opportunities, they do want to see past performance. Now, if you're providing a product, it's a little bit different, right? The requirements are a little bit different, but I'm talking about where you're providing a service and where we're talking about opportunities that's really high value. Because if you're just off the block, okay, they're not going to just give you $1 million contract and you have no history, no past performance anywhere or anything like that. So you just want to be mindful of that. Okay, so the first thing is you want to make sure you have past performance. If you don't have any, you need to go get some. And even in that still entails a lot of times you're going to have to bid on some opportunities. So you still need to know how to bid, whether it's private sector, commercial, residential, whatever it looks like, you still need to know how to put a bid together. Even if you don't have to do a full blown out bid, it's still pertinent information, pieces that you're going to need to include no matter what industry you're focusing on. Okay. So definitely make sure you're, you can bid opportunities, and a lot of that is pricing too. If they're going based off of price, you got to learn how to price the things that you provide. Now, the second key element is key personnel. A lot of times we bid opportunities and it's something that we can't do on our own. We already know we're going to need a team, whether it's one other person, 5 people, 10, whatever that number is. We know we can't deliver it on our own. And so if that's the case, then definitely there should be some key personnel. And what I mean by that is, if, for example, you're going to do, let me see, set up healthcare staff. I'm just looking at what you guys do because I'm going to use one as an example. Okay, so somebody had a cleaning company. Who was it? Belinda has a cleaning company. So for example, say Belinda's bidding on a project, a cleaning project, maybe it's power washing. which is a part of cleaning, but she's never done power washing, like power washing buildings or something like that, right? And so she's going to take on this contract to do that. So she may have someone that's going to sit in that role that has the experience doing power washing, right? So now they become key personnel because with them on her team in the bid, right? And she shows their experience, their past performance, that gives her the leverage, that gives her the past performance to say, hey, I can deliver on this opportunity. Now, of course, you have to lock the key personnel into a deal, and we're not going to get into all that here, but just know if you have key personnel that's going to play an important role in your delivery of the opportunity, you want to definitely list them in your bid or proposal. Okay. Now, some of those roles could be not only the person doing the power washing. I think somebody said they had a staffing agency. I saw that. So even with your staffing agency, maybe you're going to get a contract with the government doing staffing. Well, again, maybe you can't deliver all of it by yourself. And so you have some other people that work in the office that is going to help facilitate the interviewing, making sure people have the skill set, whatever that is, right? Checking backgrounds, I don't know, whatever it is. But you have someone in your office that's going to play a key role. So then you would definitely include their information in your bid packet as well. If you have people that's working in the field that play a key role, then you want to include them. Maybe you have a project manager, or maybe you have a superintendent, whatever that is, those people that play an important role, and they're going to help you deliver on this opportunity. And they bring skill sets that you don't have, especially you want to make sure you include those people in your packet. Okay. Okay, so we have past performance, key personnel, 1 and 2. Number 3 is financial ability. As a new company, that is always a question about if you have capacity. If you have, and when I say capacity, I mean the ability financially, 1, to manage the project, but be able to also deliver through whatever financial obligations it's going to take to deliver. And so what they're looking for when they look at your financials, and you need to know what financial statements are. If you don't know, that's something you need to add to your list to learn. And I do have a training course on, I forget what it's called, but it's on bookkeeping and the financial statements and stuff like that, because it's an important part. And so you need to know what financial statements are. You need to know how to read the financial statements, because when they ask you to submit them, and sometimes they do, when you're bidding an opportunity, especially when it gets up in dollar value, they're looking for a couple of things. 1, they want to know that you have an accounting system and everything is not pencil and paper. So if you're using pencil and paper, that's great, but let's upgrade from that. Okay. I mean, this is a digital world anyway, but definitely look, I use QuickBooks. You guys can use QuickBooks. They have a QuickBooks online version. It's not very expensive. They have different tiers that you can get as well, just depending on what you're doing in your business and what you need to track and things like that. So you can definitely get QuickBooks online. And that'll track all of your income that's coming in, expenses going out, your customers, who paid you what. You can send quotes from in there, estimates, invoices. You can receive payments through the system. So it's a great resource to get you digital, and you can do things while you're mobile. So say you're out on the job site and maybe there was a change order. You need to add $10,000 to the invoice. Well, you can go right in and do it from your phone, tablet, or whatever, device you have. So it works across the spectrum. So I really like that. And of course, you can use something else if you find something else that's better and work for you. But definitely you want to have some type of accounting system set up, because it'll also spit out those financial reports for you. Because if you're doing everything manually, then that's a task to come up with some financial statements. And you would have to know how to do that manually. And that takes a little bit more accounting skill set to pull that off. So I would definitely suggest, just use an accounting system. If you don't know anything about it, don't want to know, you can find people out there very reasonable to track that for you. And it's important too, because, your financials attached to your taxes, and you don't want to leave out anything that would reduce your tax burden because you're not tracking correctly. So definitely look at an accounting system. Definitely, start understanding your financial statements. And here's the thing, what they're looking at with your financial statements. One is going to tell them that you know how to manage money, because they want to know this, because, some of the government opportunities could be a 1-year contract. Sometimes you may get a 3-year contract or a 1-year contract with a 3-year option. And if that's the case, keep in mind, they're sending you money every month. On these longer contracts, you get money every month. And they want to make sure you know how to manage that money, because I've done contracts, let me tell you, where they're funding my bank account $1 million a month. And they're not going to do that if, one, you're not in an accounting system, and two, you can't show that you know how to manage money. Because with that, and just like I told you guys, we talked about key personnel. Well, you got to pay those people. So also within the accounting system, they can see, that, okay, if you're tracking all of this, then, you're paying your people right. And, everything is going where it should go. And you're being responsible with the money. Also, looking at your financials, they can look and see if you have the capacity to cash flow a project until it can float itself. So it's very, very important that you have those financials in order, and you should be doing it on a monthly basis. I have people that I work with. Here's an opportunity and they want financials, but we're in August and you haven't done any this year. Now it gets costly, and going to a bookkeeper and saying, hey, I need 8 months of my bookkeeping done and I need it next week. So you don't want to do that. So definitely make sure you have your financial ability and systems in place. So past performance, key personnel, finances in order, digital. Okay. Now, the fourth thing is, and let me tell you something else let me share a quick story with you guys about financials. So not only what I'm sharing here, and especially on the financials, that when you're bidding the opportunity, they will ask for it. But sometimes, like those of you, I can't remember if anybody here has their 8A or not, but in the 8A program, when you're partnering with another company, teaming with another company, doing a joint venture, or maybe you're in a mentor protege program with a larger company, guess what? They're going to want to see your financials. Not pencil and paper, financials. Here's how they can tell. So I had this opportunity where I'm doing a deal with a larger company. So, I'm talking about my $1 million inflow into my bank account every month, right? Peanuts for them. So they're doing like $50 million contracts. Okay. So we're at the deal table, negotiating the deal and things like that. So here's how they asked without asking. So they said, so should we make the check out to you? Meaning Felicia Streeter, right? So what they're really asking me is, one, do I have a business bank account? They take these things serious. See, a lot of you guys will come and you're like, okay, I'm going to do government contracting, or I have a business, and you don't even have the foundation set. And a piece of that is, one, having an entity structure. And when you do that, the next thing is you need a business bank account. And so that's what he was asking me without asking me. And the answer would tell him those answers. Okay. But being polite and asking it, but assuming the worst. Okay. And so you want to make sure you have a solid foundation set anyway. And that's why inside of the government contracting roadmap training, which is in my boot camp, we cover that, the foundational stuff. You got to have a solid foundation as you venture off into government contracting. So make sure you have your financial house in order, okay? Because they will test you on it and ask you in subtle ways, and you may not even catch it. And just some of the questions that they ask you will tell them a lot about your company, how you're set up, how serious you are about this. Because you have to understand, when you're getting your entity structure, LLCs, all these things, it's not free. And so you've invested money into your business, which means, you know, you're more serious than the person that has not. Okay, so make sure you have that in order. So the fourth thing you want to make sure you have is a competitive pricing. Now, I could probably do a whole training on competitive pricing. And it's unfortunate that in the industry, sometimes people like to lowball their pricing in the pretense of they'll win the opportunity, and thinking that they can beat the contracting officer up with change orders to get the rest of the price. And it doesn't work like that. Okay. What'll happen is, if you lowball your price just so that you can win, if it's based on price anyway, sometimes they do best value, but if it's based on price and then you win it, and then you're like halfway through and like, yeah, we need more money. They don't have to give it to you. They can take the contract from you and give it to somebody else. Okay. The other thing is, a lot of times when they get all of the pricing in from all of the bids, right, they're looking at them collectively, and say everybody is at 100,000 and you're at 50,000. The first thing they're going to think is you left something out, because how could everybody else be at 100,000 and you're at 50? So it's very, 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 for multiple reasons, that you know how to price your opportunities out, okay, and be competitive. So you want to make sure you're within the competitive range. You know, if everybody's bidding, 100 to 105, and you're at 95,000, something like that, depending on the project, whatever, profit margins, that could make sense. But a $50,000 gap is like, and everybody else is over 100, you've definitely left something out, which means you don't know what you're doing. Again, we think one little piece answers one little question, but it really tells them a multitude of different things about you and your business, especially around your capabilities. So you want to make sure you have that tight. And then you also need to be in the know about your industry pricing. I know someone on here said they do staffing. So you need to know, depending on what type of industries you're staffing, but you need to know what the going rate is for that, as far as paying the people, and then your markup that you're going to charge to the agency for sending them the people. Same thing with cleaning. How much is it per square foot to clean in your area? And I can tell you guys that rate changes from state to state. So you need to know what it is in your local area or wherever you plan to do work. So you need to know what your industry is charging for the type of work that you're going to be doing. And let's see, who else is on here? Okay. I have a background in social services. Okay. Yeah. Just looking to see what type of businesses you guys have. So if anyone else popped on since I said that, definitely go ahead. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you offer, because I could use it as an example so that you can better understand. All right. So, I guess I said 5 things. Well, I got some extras. All right. So the next thing, number 5, is this is something that you really, really want to make sure you include in your, whether it's a bid, proposal, it could be a quote, anything really. And you want to say that your bid of $25,000, whatever the number is good, or you can use the term valid for a X number of days. Okay. And so you want to do this because sometimes you'll submit on an opportunity and then they may sit on it for a week, a month. And a week is not bad, but they may sit on it for a month or 2 months or longer sometimes, just depending on how things happen. And I mean, hey, where we are today, who knows what could happen, right? But anyway, you want to make sure you put in there that your bid or proposal number is only valid for a period of time. And the reason you want to do that is because price change. So say you're doing construction, for example, and you have to get materials. Well, material costs could go up in 30, 45 days. Okay, so you want to make sure that if that's the case and they hold the bid longer than that before they make a decision, that you have the opportunity to say, hey, price of nails went up, so we're going to need to adjust our number. Okay, so make sure you put that in there. And any of you guys that have worked with me personally, you'll know that a lot of times, especially if I'm doing a proposal to work with you, I'll tell you that price is good for a certain period of time. So I'm saying that, you could come back a month, 2 months later, and the price has changed. Okay. So you definitely want to state that. That's very, very important, because if you don't, and then they award you the contract, but your price did go up, well, you still have to do it at the price that you told them. So what happens? It eats into your profits. And at all costs, if I don't teach anything else in the boot camp, I'm always saying protect your profits. Okay. That's very, very important. That's the only way you're going to build wealth. That's the only way you're going to grow your business, is off profits. You can't just be breaking even. Okay. Okay. So the sixth thing I want to share with you, and this is from your bid spreadsheet. So I'm assuming however you're pricing out your stuff, whether it's a spreadsheet that you're using, if you're using some software, just depending on what you offer, they do have software out there to help where you can plug in your information and things like that. They also have various softwares that'll kind of give you the industry pricing on a given day, time, or whatever. So whatever you're using, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you include these things here. One, you want to make sure you include all of your costs. The only way to do that is to have an understanding of what you're bidding. So you have to know how to take the solicitation, read it, pull out the requirements, okay, especially around the scope of work. You have to understand that and be able to price it out, okay? So that's the first thing. You want to make sure you include all of your costs. You want to make sure you include direct costs associated with the project, as well as your indirect cost that, like, for example, say you have, regular general liability insurance for your business. It's something you carry all the time. Well, when you win an opportunity, a portion of that cost, an indirect cost, can be charged to that project as well. Not the full cost, but a percentage can be charged to that project. Okay. Another indirect cost could be, say you have a person, an assistant, office personnel, whoever, and, they help in the office as a whole, in general, day to day. But they're also going to be doing some of the paperwork for this particular project. So part of their cost of what you're paying them, right, you can charge it to the project as well. So you want to make sure you include your direct cost and indirect cost. Most of the time, people, they're pretty good with the direct cost, but they fall off on the indirect cost. And again, that eats into your profit margin. So you don't want to leave that out. Another thing is sometimes people mark up certain things. So for example, I'm going to give it to you guys like this. We probably all have some type of vehicle that we drive, whether it's a car, truck, whatever it is, motorcycle. We're driving something. So we know when we take that vehicle to the shop to get it repaired and it needs a part, we do know that although the part may only cost them $10, they might charge us $20 for that part. They put their markup on it, right? So same thing here. You may mark up, materials that you have to get, whatever that is, you could put your markup on it. And that's fine. At the end of the day, again, you still want to just make sure the total price is within the competitive range. Another thing you definitely want to make sure you do is include your profit margins. Now, percentages are different based on various industries. Some industries' profit margins are larger than others. It just depends. And so that's something you'll just have to learn as it relates to your industry in specific. Okay. So you want to make sure you're including all of your costs, direct costs, indirect costs, any markup that you're going to put on there, as well as your profit margins. Okay. Now, the next thing you want to make sure you include in your bid is you want to have something to say that this bid, this proposal is proprietary and confidential information to your business. So you want to make sure you put that on there. And what you're telling them is this information is not for release outside of the government. So I have people ask me all the time, and they'll say they want to know somebody's bid numbers. Right now, we do know once a contract is awarded at the federal level, we can go back into the beta site and see how much it was awarded for. So we know how much they bid. Right now, we don't know the breakout of what they put together to get to the total number, but we do know the total number. A lot of state, city, county projects, even commercial, we may not know what the bid was awarded at what amount, right? Because it's just not public information. But in dealing with the government, most things is, you want to make sure you put that at the bottom of your pages. You can put it in the footer if you want, just to let them know, hey, don't be sharing my proprietary pricing strategy to the public. Okay. All right. So let's recap. I gave you guys a long list. What are you I gave you 5 most forgotten elements, but actually I added 2 bonuses because I felt I needed to because they were important. So definitely you want to make sure you include your past performance, key personnel, your financial ability. You want to show that. You want to make sure you're competitive in your pricing. You want to also state how long that bid or your price is good for. You want to make sure you're including all of your pricing in your bid spreadsheet. We covered that. And then you want to make sure you also include that, this whole entire bid proposal that you're submitting to them is proprietary to your business so that they're not sharing it out. So I've given you some great information, I think. I hope you feel the same way. If you do, go ahead and like this video. Let me know that you're digging what I'm putting down. But with this information, and you can, definitely go back and watch the replay, take this information again. If you have a bid checklist that you're using, take it and add anything that you have missing. Okay. If you don't have a bid checklist at all, then use this as a starting point. Okay. To include in your bids moving forward. All right. So we're a little over the hour, but I will open it up and answer a few questions. We'll stick around another 5 minutes or so. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and pop them down in the comments on what we shared here today. I'll answer your questions. If you are in a place or space where you, I don't know where I got that from. Anyway, where you do need help with putting together your bids, getting your first bid done, that kind of thing, definitely check out the Contractors Edge Bootcamp. We go more in depth with putting together bids, and plus I help you doing the live sessions with your bids and things like that as well. So you can bring real bids and get them done. Okay. So any questions? I see a few of you guys are here. Well, quite a few. You have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the comments. I see we have Jamie here. Hey, Jamie, I didn't get to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. You're starting to save for your business. So what is your business going to be, Jamie? Oh. Let us know. Let us know. Any questions? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that because we go live most Tuesdays, unless it falls on a holiday or something like that. And then we also put out new videos on Thursdays. So you want to make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and that way you won't miss out on any other live free trainings that I'm putting here on the channel. So Jamie has a cleaning business. So what are you having to say for particularly? I'm curious, if you don't mind sharing. I've seen people, because it's not, I mean, depending on what type of cleaning you're going to do, there's not a lot of overhead involved in that. You do know that. So when you say you're saving to start your business, I'm just curious, what are you saving for? Okay, April says, how do you find prospective bids if you don't have any prior government experience in bidding? So it's all in your approach for one, but if you're just looking, I mean, and that's a twofold question. Ideally, if you're looking for opportunities, you know, most people, one of the things you can do is go to the beta.sam.gov website, and you can find current opportunities out for bid that way. You can, you know, if that's your approach. Sometimes our approach is to be a subcontractor, sometimes a prime. So depending, you can also look for prime contractors to be their subcontractor. So those are a couple ways that you can find opportunities to bid, like immediately. And I think you were on here in the beginning, April, where I talked about if you don't have any past performance, definitely look at commercial, you know, other sectors. And I talked about that at the beginning of the video to start building up some past performance. Okay. Or as you said, government experience. So you got to have some experience. And, you know, if you go in as a sub, you can get some government experience that way. Right. Okay. So Jamie's starting out from scratch. I tell you, I don't know how big of a project, Jamie, you're looking at getting into, but I can almost gather you probably have the resources to start doing some cleaning projects. I'm just saying. Risa is back here. Hey, you come hang with us every week. How are you? Are you bidding contracts yet? Let us know. So Risa says, how much would you say you need to start a business in cut and sewing? So I don't know. You know, it's your industry, but what I would say is, you know, you have to look at it as far as what equipment do you need, because you're saying cut and sewing. So I'm assuming you're going to use a sewing machine, right? So if you don't have a sewing machine, you know, you have to buy a sewing machine. You got to buy thread, needles, you know, that kind of thing. I would make a list of everything I need and then start pricing it out, because I don't know like the nitty gritty of what all you would need to do a sewing project. But material and things like that, you know, you're not going to pay for that theoretically out your pocket, if that makes sense. I would think that your customer is going to pay for the material that you're going to use on their project, meaning the material, the thread, the needle, whatever you need. Now, standard things that you use over and over, you would cover that yourself. But you could still put some of that in direct cost to the project, right? All right. April says, example, I saw a bid for school nurses in all counties in a city. Will some like this need a subcontractor? So anytime you see okay, so let me read April's question. I probably mumbled it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. So anyway, April asks, she has an example. She saw a bid for school nurses in all counties in a city. And she asks, will something like this need a subcontractor? I don't know. It's possible, but I would say definitely ask if you're interested in it. Anytime you see an opportunity out there, one of the things I teach you in the boot camp is your approach. And if you haven't, I have a free resource on my website that is a webinar training. You can go watch the recording and I dive into the various approaches that you can use as well. So you can definitely take that out. But definitely, you know, it can be an approach to come in as a subcontractor under the prime. So you could definitely do that, April, for sure. Not to say all of them will be looking for someone, but you don't know if you don't ask. And then if it's larger contracts, a lot of times they are. And here's the other thing. Based on NAICS codes, based on the dollar value of a contract, they're required to sub some of the work out to small businesses, minorities, disadvantaged veterans. Okay. So definitely ask. Jaquan says, where can I get where can I get certified before I start the bidding process? So it depends on what I'm gonna, and when you say certified, I'm going to assume you talking about woman-owned, veteran-owned, that kind of thing. If that's what you're talking about, it depends on what certifications you're going after, because some have where they now have various associations that can do the certifications. Some are done through your state. So it just depends on what certification you're going for, but you can definitely search your local area for the certifying agencies. Hey, Nolan, didn't know you were here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So Nolan says, what is the name of some bidding software that you like? Well, bidding software is based on your industry, first of all. I use a spreadsheet, but I know what to include in my bid as well, and I like to manipulate it more than sometimes the software allows. And then I like to put formulas in to put those numbers somewhere else for accounting purposes. So I use a spreadsheet, but I know how to use formulas as well, if that makes sense. But what I would say, Nolan, based on your industry, you can kind of search and see what type of bidding software is out there, and they're not cheap. So I'm not saying to go get one, especially if you're just starting out. You can use a spreadsheet or something like that to do your pricing, and just put the formulas in there and make sure it's calculating, kind of thing. Risa says previous. Okay, that must have been answered to something else. Some of that government money. Okay, so Jaquan is in trucking. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of trucking opportunities. Yeah. Okay. So Nolan says, what payment processor or merchant accounts do you like for the government to pay you with a credit card for services? So any type of payment processor is fine. Payment processor, merchant service. Okay. So, remember we talked about setting up a business bank account. Most of your banks have merchant services. What I like to do is check the fees, because there's a fee associated with using a merchant services or processing a credit card. And in the inner city, a lot, when you go to gas stations and you see cash price versus credit card price, what they're doing is charging you the processing fee in essence versus them paying for it. But I don't use those gas stations, but I'm just saying, because your processing fees is a cost of doing business. So one, check with your bank. And there's a lot of them out there. You can definitely search. Personally, I've used, one starts with an A. I have several. I can't remember. I don't know if I still have it. Hold on one second. Let me check. It starts with an A. I can't remember. Okay, I can't find it quickly, but start with an A. I can't remember. But anyway, I've used some merchant services, a couple of those. I've used PayPal. I use Stripe. PayPal, Stripe. Some of my courses sit on course websites where they have a payment processor. So again, it depends on what you're doing as to what type of merchant services or payment processor you need. There's Square. You know how when you go out to the stores and they'll have something like this and they're taking your payment, or they have the little white thing, not a big cash register, but a little white thing, and they swipe your credit card or whatever. That's Square. So a lot of stores use Square. Yeah, so it just depends. I would definitely check with your bank, definitely do a search or payment processors. And the great thing about, I don't have mine, so about Square and PayPal is, okay, I don't have it in here, but they give you a little chip thing that you can put on your phone, and then you can just swipe it. So if you go out to events, a lot of times people will use their cell phone and they'll have that little thing and they'll say swipe your card. Or if you've been to Chick-fil-A lately, they have that little piece where you can swipe your card. A lot of them will provide you with that too, if that's something you need. So again, you just have to search and check and see which is great for you. Okay. All right. Risa says, thank you, Felicia, for all the great information. You are so welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys are welcome. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've definitely extended our time once again, but I always like to open it up for Q&A and answer any questions that you have. If you need help with, bidding and things like that, I'm going to definitely give you the link to the Contractors Edge Bootcamp. Check it out. If you want to join us, definitely come on in. And the great thing is you get immediate access. You can start where you're at, and then you get to get in, get your foundation set, start working on things. And then you get to come to the live sessions, where our objective during the live sessions is to get your first bid done with my help. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and end there. The link is there for you. If you have any other comments you want to share, this will be put up on the channel. And I'll see you right back here next week, same time, same channel. All right. So have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you back here real soon. Bye for now.